The American Egyptian Women of Influence podcast aims to be the American Egyptian culture podcast of choice. We believe that our knowledge and our participants' stories will greatly enhance understanding of both cultures. I'm Karen Leggett Aburaya. My guest today is Nimet Habachy, born in Cairo, raised in New York, where Leonard Bernstein once called her the voice because she has ruled the airwaves overnight on WQXR, the city's classical music radio station, for several decades. Welcome, Nimet. Glad to have you on the air with us.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be with you on the air.
And what have you enjoyed most about sharing classical music for all these years with New York listeners?
I think the aspect that has meant the most to me over all these years is that I feel very much a part of a New York family. There's something about an all-night listenership. They are looking for the music as well as companionship. And I think I sensed that very early on. And so I immediately became people's family, and they became mine. I was the recipient very often of the family Christmas card as we come into this season. It always used to amaze me that I had literally been recognized as being sufficiently important in anybody's life to merit the family card. And that's just one aspect of it. But it has always been very heartwarming to realize that we have come through so many difficult and splendid things together on the radio. I've been privy to the awful period of time after 9/11, before 9/11, all that has come in between. I've seen families go through difficult things because they write me to tell me what they're going through. I've watched children grow from afar. I've accompanied many a book or a paper or a deadline. And it's been an enormous privilege to share the lives of New Yorkers in this way. It's meant a great deal to me. And it's been actually, I'm coming up on a 40th anniversary in the trade. It's very hard to believe me.
My goodness, I can imagine. Do you get this? Do you have any sense of radio being old-fashioned? I mean, there aren't many people. I mean, you can listen to the radio online, but is radio still an important means of communicating? Do you think?
I think it's still very important. I can't guarantee that it's going to go on being important, but there is still a generation that, for all the toys that are at the disposal of many of us, most of us, in fact, people still, at a certain age level, walk into the house and flip on the radio, whether it's the one in the kitchen or the one that sits happily by the bedside. The radio is still something that is a resource, a wonderful resource. I mean, it is a miracle to be able to walk into the house and hear Beethoven at will is, to my mind, that is still something very special. Imagine if people of other ages had a hope of being able to command music and it comes up out of a little box. Surely that would have been deus ex machina to most. But for us, it's something we've taken for granted. But now, indeed, there are other ways to get your music. But you know what? They're an extra step or two. Got to turn on the computer, got to remember your password, type the whole thing in, then you get your music. The radio, you walk in, and in some cases, it almost flips on automatically. So I think there is still a life for radio. It is still very much of the world of the road trip. Most people still listen to the radio in the car. Oh, yeah, there's the CD and there's lots of other possibilities. But the radio is still one way to keep in touch with what is around you now. And I think that is valid. Streaming, it happened a while ago. Pre-recorded, whatever. But the radio is here and now, and in this day and age and the turmoil the whole world seems to be in, it's immediate. And for that, I think we should all be very grateful.
Have you had
I think there is a life, yes.
Have you had opportunities to introduce American audiences to Egyptian music or composers on your program?
Yes. I have juxtaposed Johann Sebastian Bach to the Adhan, the call to prayer. I put them on the air at about 5 or 6 in the morning one morning, and I got a tremendous positive reaction. I said, many people will be going to services, all kinds of services on a on a Sunday morning. And the call to prayer is the Adhan, and I said a few words about it, and I played a quite wonderful recording I picked up in Cairo, and I followed that with a toccata of Bach, which would have been played in many a Presbyterian, Episcopal, whatever church. And over the years, I've even played some Coptic mass music, and I've played Kulthum, actually. Not in large quantities, but I have certainly offered this kind of music, especially in the glory days when I chose my own music, which is not something I do today. Today it's done with a computer. But anyway, in the halcyon days when I literally programmed my own shows with themes, I literally could play just about anything, and I did. I enjoyed it.
That's
and
wonderful.
so did the audience, more to the point.
And then another part of your life involves your sister Susan and the Association for the Protection of the Environment, and that's what keeps you connected to Cairo and Egypt. What are you doing in that regard today?
Some time ago, my sister and I, on one of our various visits to Egypt, were taken by relatives into the hills in the Muqattam, on the outskirts of Cairo, to visit a squatters community, which was based on the concept of breeding pigs. And if you breed pigs, why, you have to feed them. And so the squatters community had grown up around the breeding of pigs and the collecting of garbage with which to feed them. And this was a garbage collecting community where the women particularly had been neglected. There were no services directed in their direction, and it was truly one of the more difficult, tragic things I've ever witnessed. Poverty is one thing, but living off the detritus of others, I think, is an added gradation of shame and unconscionable concept of how to live, an unconscionable way to make a living and to live in it, within it, and off it. And so while we were looking around, we were taken to a school which women of Cairo have established to help their Egyptian sisters to come out of this incredible structure of a life. And there are two schools. One directs the women of the community towards hygiene, education, literacy, a knowledge of numbers, and it has increased their position within the family. The other school takes care of the youngest children while their mothers weave and learn about patchwork and make some very, very beautiful products that we in New York have come to sell. But what happened upon this first visit was we did ask our hosts, what particularly could we do from far away besides giving you money now? And the answer very simply was, we need a market. And so Susie and I looked at each other and thought, if we're really insane, we will import this product, the weaving, the patchwork, the paper, and sell it to our New York friends. And that's exactly what we did about 30 years ago. And we're still at it. So we hold sales in New York that have become a little bit down, kind of off the grid, but very much part of many people's Christmas. And I think we've been good for about $1 million hitherto, maybe even exceeding that a little bit in the years we've worked. So we get the product from Cairo, we unload, we put it out in a very attractive way. We have dear and wonderful volunteers who join us, who deserve medals, because all of this has had to sometimes be done at 5 a.m. It's been rigorous, hard work, wonderful people that have come to us to buy and continue to come to us. You can also, of course, make a donation if you don't want to come out and shop. But it's great fun. We look forward to it every year. We work hard at it and couldn't be more proud of the girls that make these products that have gotten more beautiful with each year.
Thank you. This has been a very brief introduction to you, Nimet Habachy. We want everyone to check our links to learn so much more, including where to buy the craft. We'll provide that information again so that we can have more people coming to the craft sale this year. And we wish you well and look forward to talking with you again. Thank you very much.
Delighted to be with you. Thank you very, very much. I enjoyed it. Thank you.